How are you doing? This is Cindy, and I thought I would pop on here and do a quick video about the energy and how people have been feeling, and maybe it's something that might help you or that you can relate to. So the other day I woke up and I was calling in all my seraphim angels. Now, well, I was calling my seraphim angels, my angels that are just hanging out with me, regular angels, and the archangels that work with me. So let me just tell you a little bit about the angels, I guess. The seraphim angels are big, huge, six-winged angels that work on a universal level and on their minute scale at a global level. Although I have worked with them on a local level, I find that that is not usually the norm. But with my monthly webinars that I have, my live webinars, we have really worked with the seraphim angels a lot, because those webinars are all about transformation. They're about shifting your consciousness and your paradigm and really expanding your mindsets and opening up to manifesting the big things that you want in your life, or even seeing yourself in the new world, whatever that looks like to you. And I don't know about you, but this world that most of us are seeing in our reality, it's just so old school for me. It's just so yesterday, and I'm really just not into all of what happens in these dimensions that make up this world that we all have an experience in. That said, I want to say that remember, we are multidimensional beings, and that means that we reside on many, many dimensions all at the same time. And so really your awake state is a dimension, and we reside in different dimensions within that awake state. So an example is, maybe we're having a great day and everything's falling into place and life is just working with us and it's so awesome. And so that's a dimension where synchronicities happen, where miracles happen, where manifestations happen, where things happen that usually we like. Then you could be in a dimension where everything's going wrong. You wake up, you get a flat tire, you're around mean people, bills come that you don't expect. That's a dimension, and that's where those things live. That's a dimension those things live in. You might have fears about not having enough money to pay bills, or feeling like you don't have enough money or resources to live, and it's a daily struggle, and you're worried all the time. That's a dimension, and that's where those things live. You might be experiencing love and freedom and beauty and loving this planet and just enjoying life to the fullest. And that's a dimension. That's where those things live. You might be well off. You might have money. You might be able to do most of everything that you'd like to do. And that's a dimension. That's where those things live. But within those dimensions that we happen to be experiencing, other dimensions can kind of interact, right? So if you're in an experience, i.e. a dimension that doesn't feel like the one that you want to be in, you want to raise your vibration, or you might want to lower your vibration. Usually that's not the way it works, but people do weird things. And reach for the dimensions where the things are that you do want. And you have access to all those. You have access to every single dimension, actually, because guess what? Why? Because you are your own universe. Everybody, in essence, is their own universe, interacting with everything, because all of our experiences, our soul's evolution, before we came to this human life that we're experiencing now and seeing each other in, and everything that happened in our upbringing, the people we were around, the beliefs and the mindsets that we learned from, people that we respected and thought that we needed to take on their teachings, we perceive from our own perceptions, and no two perceptions are ever the same. So that means we all have our own universes, because we all have a completely different perception. We might have similar perceptions. We might agree on some perceptions, but I don't know of any two human beings that have the same exact perceptions, but it could be possible, right? Anyway, so that said, I'm talking about being multidimensional beings, okay? So you are all of those dimensions at the same time. But the difference that comes into play with this is that you, for my work, this is what I teach, this is what my students come to me for, this is why people come on my transformational and spiritual journeys, is because they want to learn how to bring in more of the energies of the dimensions that will support them, where they will be more in the dimensions where they will experience the things that they really want in their lives, and how to stay there and how to continue to grow and expand and go into more amazing dimensions. And that's what my work is all about. And I had gotten the message that, you know, I knew this, but it came around again and was told to me that I am one of those people that leads people into their new world, into their new way of being, their new ways of thinking. The people that want that is, the people that want better for themselves, the people that don't necessarily want to die to come back and experience it a different way. You can do it in this lifetime. You can change whatever it is that you want. You know, you just have to know how, and you have to know what's in your way and what's blocking you if you're not getting there. And or how to get more of what you're doing, or how to stay where you're doing on a more consistent basis. The truth is, everything is always changing. So even if somebody wasn't trying to consciously do what I'm talking about, they will have change, because if the people around them change, or anything around them changes, it doesn't matter what it is. It could be a death, it could be a new person coming in, it could be a baby, it could be a mindset, it could be an accident, it could be anything. When anything happens, everything in a person's life has to adjust to that change. That's why everything always works out, no matter what happens. If something really bad seems to happen, or something really good seems to happen, or a big change happens and you're worried, like, well, what will happen to my kid, or what will happen to, you know, my family, or what will happen to me? The thing is, yeah, we get worried because it's the unknown and we don't know. But the truth is, the universe always has to adjust to what is going on with you. And the universe already knows what's going on with you. You know, in our limited perceptions as a human, we don't see the big picture. We might, you know, expand ourselves to see the big picture, but we don't see the big picture. And when we were souls, before we came in as humans, we knew what we were coming here to learn. And I wouldn't say that we are here on a blind destiny, meaning that we just, you know, okay, we're just on autopilot and we're doing whatever we had planned to do as a soul. I believe that the lessons come to us, and that when we're ready to do that, or the experiences that we're ready for, or even like, you know, when you were 20, you didn't care about a car, and when you were 45, you decided, hey, I'm all for a red Beamer. And so you change your ways of wanting to experience life, and you order that red Beamer, and that red Beamer probably was on the list before your soul even came in as a human. So it's all about how we experience things, how the path we take to learn them, and experiences that we want to experience, and how we change and all that stuff. So we do have choice, but I do believe that our souls know what, you know, the general idea of what evolution they are going to achieve in this lifetime. So we have access to everything, but we may not experience a lot of the dimensions. Like, you know, I'm not at all into killing and, you know, just big, huge, mass destructive types of things. So that stuff really isn't on my wire. And there's things that I don't like, but I won't entertain my energy in those things, because what you focus on and what you put your mind to is what you start experiencing more of. And I had some experiences like that, talking about animal cruelty and things like that, where I just started feeling so angry all the time about it. And so it really wasn't working for my experience of joy and happiness and love. So I got out of that. And it doesn't mean that you're in denial because you're not dwelling in it. Because some people will say, oh, well, you can bury your head in the sand and pretend it's not there, but it's there. And it's not about that because it is part of your dimension. But you choose where you're going to be because you know what? That's always going to be living in that dimension. That will never change. It's always going to be living in that dimension because that's what that dimension does. Now, you might start seeing changes where you start seeing that there's being more respect towards animals and the cruelty starts to go away, or maybe the cruelty goes away completely, and that's amazing. And guess what? There's a dimension for that too. So there might be, there is a dimension for the cruelty, and there's a dimension for the happiness and the respect and where everything is wonderful. So it's all there. It doesn't change. You play the game. You choose that dimension that you're going to play the game in and play. But guess what? If you're against what's going on in a certain dimension, you're never going to win the game. You're never going to win that game. You're just going to keep fighting it because that's where those things live, in that dimension. And you are not going to change that because that's where it lives. You can play the game, but you'll lose. And if you get footing, if you do see changes, that's because you've gone into a different dimension where those changes and those footings have changed. So get that in your head. Those dimensions all those things live in those dimensions. But it's your choice which one you're going to dwell in and which one you're going to experience. But it's all there. And if you buck up against it, you're just going to keep losing the game. And it's frustrating. So anyway, I don't know why I got home to that, but it's an interesting teaching, isn't it? So this kind of stuff is what I'm going to be teaching in my Advanced Manifesting Breakthroughs video e-course. And so that's exciting. I'm working on that now. So anyway, back to the beginning, like 10 minutes ago, I was calling in all my seraphim angels, my archangels, and I was telling them, I'm having a tough time staying in the highest dimensions that I want to be in. And, being really happy and things really flowing and amazing things happening. And although I was having a hard time staying up in those dimensions, I was still noticing every day the beauty around me. I live in the most beautiful, beautiful place. And I'm sure there's other places that are equal or more beautiful, but I get to every day look around me and just be in awe of the beauty around me. It never gets tiring. Every day it's just like, oh my gosh, that's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. That's so beautiful. Drive my car. That's so beautiful. I have manifested living in beauty, and I love this dimension of beauty. So I am lucky that I, have that, but I also had been, and I'll say this is past tense because I'm out of it now, that I had been experiencing just things not flowing the way that I would expect them to, not being the experience that I was expecting to experience in this year, not seeing the things that I thought I would see. And I was surprised about that because I'm really a great manifester, I would say there's always learning. You never totally master anything completely, but I would say I'm a pretty great manifester. And so I didn't know why this was happening. And I told them, listen, I need your help. I don't know why I'm having such a hard time, but I need your help. And so often when I feel like I'm either in a funk or things aren't working the way I want them to be, and I would wake up and I would talk myself into feeling good, and I'd get myself into a really good feeling, good place, and then I'd get ready for my day, and then I'd get out into the world, and somebody would come and swipe me and knock me on my ass, and I'd be like, what the hell happened? And so it was a struggle like that. Like I would expand into this beautiful feeling, and then I would contract into this horrible feeling energy. And I was just getting tired of it felt like I was getting battered. I kept, okay, let me get back here. And then I'd snap back like a rubber band, opening and snapping back. And that's what kept happening to me. And I was just getting so tired of it. And I didn't know why it kept happening. And it was for I'd say a couple months, 3 months. Yeah, it was tough. And so at least I was conscious of it, so I could always realign. But it was it was a chore, and it wasn't what I wanted to experience. So often when I'm going through things like that, I give to others. That's the way that I actually get more messages for myself when I feel like I need an extra message. Like I'll do free readings on my Facebook or something like that, or I'll just do something for other people because for some reason that always shifts me. And so it is really good to be in service of other people. And I find that especially when and I always do some of that, but I find when I'm off that when I do that, it really helps me to be in a higher vibration. And it's because I'm helping other people, being a conduit for the angels and God and ascended masters, higher powers, guides. And so I'm in a higher energy because I am allowing them to work through me and help other people with their issues, getting their messages, getting their healing. And so it makes me always move into higher dimensions because I'm working with high vibrating beings from amazing dimensions. So they told me to be an anchor in the light and be the light for other people, which means spread light, because light is what heals, light is what feels better. And they said, and send healing to them and say a prayer for whatever they need right now. And I said, oh, okay, that sounds really good. So I was just going to do that to whoever was around me. But then I thought, you know what? I really want to do that for my people that are on my newsletter. And so I did that. I put out a newsletter. I don't know, it's been a few days, maybe 5 days ago. And I basically told them what I'm telling you, but a shorter version. And that, all I'm doing that day was sending them the newsletter to, if they wanted to say yes to it, to receive light, healing, and that I'd say a prayer for whatever they need right now. And they didn't need to write back to me or anything, just say yes in their head, and then it's done. And that's all. I wasn't there to ask them for anything. I just wanted to give to them. And then I sent another personal email that was longer and more personal to the people who are my clients, the people that I work with, the people that I'm in more contact with on a personal level, and sent them individually emails to tell them the same thing. And it felt so good. I didn't need anything from anyone. I didn't need any responses. In fact, I wasn't even looking or expecting, or I didn't even think about getting responses. But several people from my email list, and when a lot of my clients that I sent direct messages to, they responded and were so grateful. And some of them, everybody that responded said they really needed it and that they had been going through the same thing. And so with my current clients and people that I talk with, I realized, wow, everybody's going through this. So it's not just me, it's universal, right? So, but then, I can say, since we're all our own universe, right? All these people are like, everybody that I see and interact with, they're all part of me because you're in my universe. So, and then same with you guys. So it would make sense, but let's just bring it down to a human level. People are feeling like it's been rough, and people that are aware and conscious like me are doing the techniques and working through it to see if they can shift it, but they do, and then it sideswipes them. Same thing with me. So it's like, what is going on? Usually these techniques work. Usually that's all we need to do, and then we're good as gold. But not so much in the last 2-3 months. I just want to say to you that if you're experiencing something like this, keep up with your techniques on fluffing your aura, cutting cords, meditating and taking yourself to feel good dimensions. Noticing the yas in your life. I was talking about that in my webinar the other night. What's a ya? So, when I was feeling like things weren't that great, I started thinking about what was great. Is there anything great going on? I was like, you know what? I see beauty around me every single day. Yeah, that is a yeah. And I've been able to recently have time because, yeah, I've recently, I mean, I've been super busy in the last few days, but I've pretty much spent the last 3 months focusing on my health. I've done two major 21-day detoxes, and I've been about 95% eating raw food. And my health is feeling better than I felt I actually don't remember when I felt this good. And so that's definitely a yeah, and it's come so easy. It wasn't hard. I mean, I don't really like being on detoxes, but the benefit is so worth it. I just started thinking about the yas in my life, and I was like, I led a spiritual journey in Hawaii this year. That was amazing. Yeah, that's awesome. And I'm leaving for Shasta in July to lead a spiritual journey there. And that's a big yeah. I get to be around my friends and my clients and see them again and lead them through awesome transformation. And just, I was just thinking about different things. So notice the yas in your life. Just write that stuff down, because that will help you to shift. And when you notice those things, guess what happens? You start being in those dimensions of those things because you're putting attention to them. You're feeling good about those things. So that's how you shift dimensions, okay? When you put the thought to the things that feel good, that are your yas. So I have a yeah dimension. And, I can write a whole list of things in my yeah dimension. And so when I'm feeling off, I can go, you know what? I want to feel good. What's in my yeah dimension? And look at those things and add to those things. Anyway, the point of this whole video is, if you have been feeling this, that a universal thing, definitely it's happening to help us shift, because I know that the universe, God, creator, whoever you consider your higher power, is not trying to make us feel like crap, is not trying to sideswipe us. This is all to shift us. And what I've noticed is, being in this constant trying to keep myself aligned, it's teaching me how to stay aligned on a more consistent and stronger basis. It's training. It's training to keep you in higher dimensions, because you feel so crappy in those contrasting lower dimensions that you keep working to be in the higher dimensions. So more practice you put to something, the more you'll be able to just naturally be in those dimensions. So it's a great training ground for that, if you are accepting the training, that is. Because some people start having a crappy experience and then they just stay in it, and then they're being negative about it and they don't do anything to shift out of it. And guess what? No one can do that for you. Only you can do that for you. And what about the people around you? Are they knocking you into lower dimensions? Are their attitudes so shitty that they're, making it harder for your experience? Because if it is, then reevaluate if you want to be around those people. Because if you're around those people, you're going to constantly be pulling yourself in and out of your preferred dimension and going into lousy dimensions that you don't want to be in. But that's your fault if you continue to stay around people like that. Okay, you have choices. You don't have to be around anyone you don't want to be around. You can change things. And another way that you can change things, if there's someone like that in your life, is maybe change it in how you see them. Maybe they are a jerk, but maybe you can just say, you know what? I think they're fine and they're having their experience, and that doesn't have to affect me. Although their energy vibration would affect you, but if you didn't start getting mad and buying into all of it, that would help you. So there's ways that you can do things to shift it for yourself too. So I do feel like we are getting out of this energy somewhat. I believe that we'll probably have to continue to practice this, because we're all, most of the people, if you're following my videos, normally you're working to manifest great things, to feel great, to feel love, to have freedom, to have money, to have the resources you need to just enjoy an amazing life. And to have that, you can't keep doing the same things and get a different experience. You're going to get the same experience, right? So in order to achieve these things, your world is going to be rocked. You're going to have to go through things that you don't necessarily like to keep refocusing you on what more you want, what higher vibration you want, what, getting really clear on it and really doing the work to prove that's what you want to be and where you're going to be. It's up to you to, you want something, you got to go for it, and you have to stay consistent with it every day. And that's how you get it faster. And that's why people go on my spiritual journeys with me. And that's why people get light activation healings with me, because it's almost like a cheat, because not only do you have an amazing experience and feel great, but you move out years, decades, even lifetimes of stuff that is in your way that you may or may not know is even there. And so that's why a lot of people choose to work with me, because I am their fastest pathway to their accelerated transformation, change to where they want to be. It's pretty exciting. And I love it too, because the more I can help people on their fast track, the more I fast track, That's what it's all about. The more you help the people around you to get better or achieve things that they want, the more that helps lift you, actually. You just do it alone, yeah, you'll get somewhere. But when you help other people, it lifts you even faster. I'm always busy helping other people, and it really helps me too. And I really get that. Anyway, I feel like we will have still a little bit of that challenge coming in. But if you see it now, just take it as, I'm in training. I'm refocusing. I'm getting stronger at holding my clarity and desire and vibration for what I want. Use it productively and beneficially, because that's what's going to get you even further. Complaining about it and not being happy, that's just going to keep you spinning in the crap. It's not going to help you at all. But I do feel like things will get better. And I'll leave you with this last thought, that nothing in life is ever permanent. Nothing. So whatever you ever go through is ever permanent. And that said, this too shall pass. Things always will change, no matter what. And that goes for everything. Crappy things and even the happy things. And I'm not saying that, oh, this is too good to be true that I can be happy all the time. Let me wait for the other shoe to drop. No, because we don't wait for other shoes to drop, because that is working against you, right? So you got to get rid of that belief that the other shoe is going to drop. But you're always refining, you're always growing, and you're always changing. So if you are, experiencing something wonderful, no doubt you're going to be ready for something more wonderful in a different way, or expanding upon that. So things always do change. But just find solace in knowing that if you're going through a difficult time, that nothing is ever permanent. Just keep telling yourself, nothing's ever permanent. This is changing. It's already changing. And because it is. Just as a sign that everything's changing for the better. Whenever something lousy happens, I'm excited, because this is a sign that this is a change for the better, because really that is what it is. I hope that something I've said today has helped you. And remember to choose where you're going to play the game, and know that if you're bucking up something in a dimension where it lives, you'll never win that game. So go to the dimensions that feel good and play there and enjoy the game. Okay? All right, everybody. Until next time.